the terrifying darkness behind Nightmare. At this point, we all know the story behind the Nightmare animatronics in FNAF 4. The crying child, or Evan Afton, is counting down the days until his birthday at Fredbear's Diner. His father and his brother, William and Michael Afton, are trying to scare him to lure him away because they know the horrors that lie behind those doors. William made sound illusion discs to overload Evan's brain to make him think that he's seeing nightmare versions of the animatronics he built. He would do these illusions night after night and turn them off only at 6 a.m. so that when the day of his party came, he would be the most frightened he's ever been. His brother Michael forced him into the restaurant and brought him all the way up to Fredbear, thinking that after this he would never return to the restaurant again. All the boys lifted Evan up, placed him between the jaws of Fredbear. The spring locks in Fredbear's head malfunctioned and returned to normal, and then after that, Evan woke up in his room to fight one last night. Only this time, all the animatronics are gone, and all that was left is Nightmare. For the final night, Evan is running for his life, checking the right door, going to the left, checking in his closet and under his bed. But Nightmare seems to be everywhere at once. While all of this is happening, he's sitting in a hospital bed in a coma, while his dad is falling deeper and deeper into insanity. After he completes the night, Evan dies. His soul is now trapped inside Golden Freddy, along with Cassidy. In the end, all of the animatronics became his friend once again. All of them except for the animatronic that he had to face the final night. The animatronic that is the embodiment of fear. An animatronic that was born from the darkness of a man's sins. And the only thing that Golden Freddy is afraid of when a child's dreams fade into darkness and fear takes over, all that's left is Nightmare. The terrifying darkness behind Springtrap. William Afton, co-founder of Fredbear's Family Diner, as well as Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, coming up with the idea to use animatronics to entertain the guests. What could possibly go wrong? William Afton isn't mentally there. He lured 5 kids to the back room of the diner while wearing the spring Bonnie suit. The 5 children looked in horror. So the story begins. William was able to successfully kill all 5 children, but he knew the parents would get worried eventually, so he stuffed all their bodies inside animatronic suits. These 5 souls would go on to be trapped inside the suits of the original Five Nights at Freddy's crew. After losing both his daughter and his son to these killing animatronics that he made, William fell into insanity. William years later returns to the restaurant to destroy any evidence that he left behind, destroying Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, and Foxy. Unknowingly, he released the souls of the children he killed, and they were going to get their revenge. While running away from the souls, he decided to jump into the spring Bonnie suit, but unfortunately for him, the spring locks in the Bonnie suit failed, and he was crushed to death. Years later, they opened an attraction called Fazbear's Fright. During the daytime, while scavenging the pizzeria, the employees go into a hidden safe room where they find a golden Bonnie suit. They named this new animatronic Springtrap. William Afton now walking the halls of this pizzeria, coming back from the dead. William Afton's soul is now in a constant state of purgatory, no thanks to his son and Cassidy. They ended up burning the place down, and Springtrap along with it. But as we all know,
I always come back.
William shouldn't be allowed to die. Why should he? After all that he's done, after all the souls that he's kept trapped in these suits, and now he is trapped as well. He's alive even to this day, looking for his next victim. William Afton, the man behind the slaughter, the infamous purple guy, a man who can't go to heaven or hell. When evil has a face and a name, and refuses to die, he always comes back. The terrifying darkness behind Bonnie. At this point, we all know the story behind the animatronics in the first game. 5 children were led to the back of the Freddy Fazbear's Diner to meet their end at the hands of William Afton, or Springtrap. William stuffed all of their bodies into the suits, and their souls were left to rot. And this is how Bonnie was born. Years later, they open up a restaurant called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and old animatronics are in the back rooms, withering away. These animatronics are looking to kill their killer by any means necessary. Soon the restaurant gets closed down because of this, and a new one opens. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, where they use the old animatronics that were withering away and rebuild them to make them look more whole. Years later, William Afton returns to the restaurant to destroy any evidence of what happened all those years ago. He destroys all the animatronics, but unknowing to him, he released the souls of the children that he killed. Now Bonnie can get his revenge. All of the souls corner William Afton in a back room, and to run away, he jumps into a spring Bonnie suit. And this is where he meets his end. Or does he? The animatronic that witnessed all of his friends' deaths before his eyes. The animatronic whose sole goal is to kill his killer. The animatronic that scares Scott Cawthon in his dreams. What is it you see behind those red eyes? Bonnie. The terrifying darkness behind Golden Freddy. From the beginning, since the first game, one character has had the most suspicion and mystery surrounding them. That character is Golden Freddy, randomly popping up in a security office, saying, "It's me." We know that 5 children were killed by William Afton, and 4 of them went on to possess the main crew of Five Nights at Freddy's. But what about the 5th? There was one he wasn't supposed to kill, one that wasn't supposed to die. That soul is the most rageful soul out of all of them. The soul that wants to keep its killer alive and make him suffer. That's the main goal, but the story doesn't end there. William Afton's son, Evan Afton, or the Crying Child, was bitten by Fredbear, one of his creations. This led the child to go into a coma, and for the nights that he was in a coma, he was fighting for his life in his dreams. After those nights, he dies, and his soul is now attached to the golden Fredbear that he loved so much. William Afton, after witnessing the death of his son, destroys Fredbear, leaving him an empty shell of what he used to be. Evan realizes that he's not alone. The 2 souls are in a constant state of fighting with each other for control. One soul so vengeful that she wants to kill her to stay alive just so that he can suffer, and the other soul just wants to be at peace and rest. For years, these 2 are stuck together. Eventually, a security guard named Mike enters the restaurant, and the souls are still there, and Evan keeps telling him, "It's me." Years and years pass, and the internal battle between Evan and Cassidy keeps on growing. The 2 cannot just decide on what they want to do. One wants to rest, and the other one will not be satisfied until the killer has paid for what he's done. Eventually, Evan has had enough, and he decides to rest with the other animatronic souls that were trapped. However, Cassidy still remains, making sure her killer never dies. But what about Evan? What about what Afton said to him? He told Evan that he would fix him. What could that mean? That'll have to be a story for another day, if you can survive another night. The animatronic who shouldn't have been killed. The animatronic who hates William Afton the most. The animatronic responsible for Springtrap always coming back. When a vengeful spirit can control death, you shouldn't have killed Golden Freddy. The terrifying darkness behind the puppet. Henry Emily, co-founder of Fazbear's Animatronics alongside William Afton. He creates a security measure to ensure the safety of the guests, but most of all, to ensure the safety of his daughter Charlotte, because he's seen the devil's face, and he knows the evil that lies behind those doors. One night, William Afton drives to the new Freddy Fazbear's restaurant hoping to make a comeback. He feels he's paid for what he's done and that he can change. However, Henry does not feel the same. He tells him upon arrival that he will never be able to come back after what he's done. So Afton leaves more furious than ever. His blood rises, and he gets the unshakable urge to kill. And what better target than Henry's own daughter? However, killing in the new location will be much more challenging than Fredbear's because of the new security system in the building that's designed to attack him, especially one that sits in a box waiting for him, the puppet. The puppet is specifically designed to protect Henry's daughter, so how would he do it if the puppet would already be out of its box and ready to attack before he even arrives? Unless, what if the box never opens? One night, some bullies trapped the puppet in its box and Charlotte was outside the restaurant. That's when a car rolls up into the alley. Charlotte recognizes it. She knows it's William Afton and runs to him for comfort. If only she knew she was running to her death. William ends up murdering Charlotte and leaves her body in the alley. Soon, the puppet was able to knock over the box and rushed over to see where Charlotte was, just to be met with the aftermath of evil. The puppet is taking massive damage from the rain and crawls over to Charlotte's dead body. That's when Charlotte's soul possesses the puppet, and in that moment, Marionette was born. From this point on, throughout the entirety of the series, the Marionette is now the sole protector of all the animatronics, being able to see through camouflages like the Freddy mask because she knows the people that you trust could end up being the knife in your back. The puppet ends up giving life to not only the original kids that were killed by William Afton, but also a brand new 5 that he put into the toy animatronics. Now he has his army to be able to fight William Afton, the one that killed them all. The one that died at the cost of another man's sins. The one that breathes life into death. The sole protector of all the animatronics. The one that just wanted to bring joy and is now corrupt by the evil that she's seen. The one who balances life and death on strings. That is the Marionette. That is the puppet. The terrifying darkness behind Foxy. The pirate animatronic Foxy, the side character to Freddy, Chica, and Bonnie, always at his stage, but for some reason, he seems to be always out of order. But why? Why does this animatronic refuse to work? Could it be a malfunction in the machinery, or is it something even darker? Just like all the rest, this story starts off with William Afton and his unshakable urge to kill, murdering 5 children and placing all of their bodies inside animatronic suits to hide any evidence of what happened. These souls would go on to possess these animatronic shells. They were stuck like that for years, waiting for their killer to return. Foxy seems to have a broken jaw, and he seems really tattered up. Is this what Phone Guy meant when he said the bite of 87? Could he have been talking about Foxy? No, we know that was Fredbear. It had to be, right? But it just doesn't make any sense. Why is he out of order? Why isn't he working? Why is his jaw broken? Why does he constantly malfunction? And why does he keep telling us, it's me? It was you all along, wasn't it? It wasn't Fredbear, it wasn't Chica, it wasn't even Freddy. It was you, the one who stands alone, the one who is separated from all the rest. You completed your orders, that's why you're out of order. But that's just a theory anyway. No real evidence for it, right? The animatronic who stands alone. The animatronic who runs at the chance of a kill. The animatronic that doesn't like being on camera because he wants to keep it all in the dark. What is it that you're searching for on that sea of blood? Foxy. The terrifying darkness behind Chica. Out of all the animatronics that we've talked about so far, I want to talk about the first one to die. Out of the 5 children that died that day, you were the first to go. After your death, you were forced to sit there and watch the rest of your friends be killed by the same man who took your life, stuffing your body into an animatronic. This story should be good. But why were you there that day? What brought you to this situation? Oh yeah, that's right. Your name was Susie. You had a dog that was killed a while back. By a car crash, wasn't it? You were oh so upset about it, so your friends decided to cheer you up. You went to Cassidy's birthday party, isn't that right? And you were having such a good time, weren't you? That's when the devil decided to show his face. He lured you and the rest of your 4 friends into the back room. He told you that you'd get to find out where your dog went. That would make your day, wouldn't it? Well, he wasn't lying, was he? After killing all 5 of you and stuffing all of your bodies into animatronic suits, all of you remained, waiting for the opportunity to get your revenge. And when that time came, you took it. Finally, after all this time, the man that killed you is finally back at the restaurant, not knowing that you've been waiting for his arrival. When all the dust settles, William Afton is dead. That's what you think. The animatronic that was the first to die. The animatronic that scared Scott Cawthon's own son. I wonder what it's gonna take to fill your appetite. Chica.